Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. As CARICOM readies itself to celebrate the milestone of 50 years, Antigua and Barbuda gears up with its regional counterparts. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Thursday, 29th June 2023. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. We begin today's edition with things CARICOM pertaining to the milestone celebrations to be held in Trinidad and Tobago, the birthplace of its first treaty. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown had quite a bit to say, including speaking on one political and economic system and a viable regional airline to aid intra-regional travel. Here is more from this comprehensive news item with Garfield Burford of ABS News.
Days shy of the official 50th anniversary of CARICOM, Antigua and Barbuda is recognizing the grand milestone. Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown, who will be in Trinidad and Tobago for the 45th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, told Tuesday's ceremony CARICOM is crucial.
When we consider the myriad of global challenges, we either swim together or sink alone. So CARICOM is essential.
CARICOM is the oldest surviving integration movement in the developing world, a beacon of hope for the global south. The Prime Minister wants the region to revel in the significance of the coming Golden Jubilee.
50 years of living integration is indeed a tremendous accomplishment and testimony of our people's determination. Today's ceremony serves to acknowledge its significance at the highest level here in Antigua and Barbuda, standing in the shadow of our Parliament and in the shade of the Prime Minister's edifice, occupied since the year 2000 by 3 Prime Ministers.
CARICOM was established on July 4, 1973, 15 years after the West Indies Federation was born and it died in its infancy. Prime Minister Brown is still upbeat about the prospects of a regional political union.
Whereas, in a prior effort, we did not quite succeed in establishing or at least sustaining a political union, I still believe that with time, and certainly with the commitment of our leaders and our citizens and residents, that we will achieve a regional political union.
Also elusive has been the E in the CSME. While there has been progress on the CARICOM single market, the single economy has so far been a stillbirth. The Prime Minister has not given up on that regional goal, however.
And whereas we have not quite achieved a single economy, it is work in progress. We shall continue unrelentingly until it is achieved.
Going forward, there is this commitment from the Prime Minister about CARICOM.
We look forward to our journey towards full integration and sharing without fear the ideas emanating from Antigua and Barbuda. My administration will continue to seek to address various evolving issues, especially climate change, issues to include the multi-dimensional vulnerability index, the issue of the debt challenges, the reform of the international financial architecture.
We know the Prime Minister reaffirmed his expectation for a future regional political union during a subsequent interview with our news team. He said it has to remain an aspiration for the Caribbean people.
There is no way that we can give up on that noble aspiration. That will be defeatist. I always believe that we should not become daunted by challenges. And you would recall, for example, recently we had an issue with some African migrants having established a gateway between Antigua, Barbuda, and Nigeria. And whereas we had to suspend the flights, we remain absolutely focused to establishing a sustaining gateway between Antigua and Barbuda, Africa, and the Caribbean. So there'll always be bumps in the road, but you just cannot give up on those noble aspirations.
Meanwhile, Cabinet is set to make a decision at its meeting tomorrow on whether July 4th will be declared a public holiday in Antigua and Barbuda. CARICOM member states have been asked to consider doing this to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the regional integration movement. Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown explains why there are some reservations in going the route of a holiday.
We have not made a decision to that effect. Truth be told, we have had so many public holidays. I mean, our calendar is replete with public holidays that it is always difficult to add additional holidays. And this is no disrespect or any contempt or lack of commitment to CARICOM if we decide not to. It's just a matter of, that exacerbating an already difficult situation, which we probably have too many public holidays.
Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett has also expressed reservations about declaring the day a public holiday. He says as of current discussion, Dominica is unlikely to adopt this holiday that his administration will hold discussions with the private sector before any decisions are made. The Prime Ministers of St. Kitts and Nevis and Grenada have so far declared the day a public holiday.
Tomorrow we'll give consideration to it. Again, I'm not very hopeful that we don't want to add another holiday at this point. You recall too that CARICOM Day was once a holiday in Antigua and Barbuda, and it was actually discontinued for the very reason that we just had too many public holidays. And we also have to look at the impact on productivity, and it was felt back then it had to be discontinued. So again, there may be a case for one-off restoration, but again, I can't say that extremely hopeful that may happen. And again, it doesn't represent any lack of commitment on the part of my administration to recognize this very momentous occasion.
Well, Prime Minister Brown also says it is inescapable that Liat will figure prominently in the discussions when he joins fellow CARICOM heads of government in Trinidad and Tobago next week for the 45th regular meeting. More on this because he insists that Liat should be respected as a CARICOM institution and there should be a regional commitment to restoring it in the interests of Caribbean people.
I'm just hoping we can go past the insularity and the national priorities in which I imagine there are regional competing forces that would like to see the demise of Liat, and to recognize the importance of such an institution to complement the efforts of CAL, and that ultimately some form of publicly funded transportation will be critical to achieving sustainable transportation within the region.
The Gaston Brown administration saved Liat from liquidation. A downsized version of the carrier now operates under a court-appointed administrator. The government says it is now in talks with Nigeria's Air Peace to acquire a majority stake, 70%, in Liat 2020 to ensure it can more effectively respond to regional transportation needs. Now, Prime Minister Brown outlined what he says is a flawed notion in parts of the region.
This flawed notion that we must rely exclusively on private sector assets, it is not a sustainable solution, and Antigua and Barbuda believes that ultimately a reorganized, recapitalized Liat, new Liat, leaving all of the legacy issues behind, one that will operate professionally, one that will operate on a profit basis, that will be the answer to our regional transportation woes.
Meanwhile, today's flag-raising ceremony held special significance for one of the country's CARICOM youth ambassadors, Pia Nichols. She is the granddaughter of former Chief Minister of Montserrat, P. Austin Bramble, the only surviving signatory of the treaty that brought CARICOM into force.
I would have found out about his status as the last surviving signatory after becoming a CARICOM youth ambassador. So I think when we found that out, it was very interesting that there was a continuation in the family because it was completely inadvertent. We did not know that honestly, I didn't know he was a signatory. So it was just interesting to see that strain of really having pride in our regional identity and wanting to further regional integration was something that was, almost genetic.
Esquire Henry, who was also a CARICOM youth ambassador, beamed with delight following his participation in the flag-raising ceremony.
It's truly an honor because it's really a celebration. I've seen the work that CARICOM has done throughout my life, and so to be here today and to participate in this ceremony is something that I've looked forward to, and I'm happy that it was executed.
Former Trade Minister Hilroy Humphreys says Antigua and Barbuda has played a crucial role in the regional integration movement pioneered by Father of the Nation, Sir Vere Cornwall Bird Sr. Here's what he said today.
I don't want to blow our horn here, basically, but, without Antigua's participation and looking at the whole notion of what was happening after the breakup of the Federation, VC Bird had to write to the then General Secretary of CARICOM. It was either Edwin Carrington or Mr. Curly King, and say, hey, listen, guys, we need to get to have a heads of government meeting. And so that was convened in Ocho Rios. And Seaga said, okay, let's move on, and we moved on.
The Twin Islands state played a key role in Carifta, the forerunner of CARICOM.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. HGP's nightly news reporter Renetta Burnett reports that a gathering of women organized a protest outside the law firm currently representing Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel Dharamlal. The Guyanese minister stands accused of raping and sodomizing a 16-year-old schoolgirl. The protesting women demand that the law firm discontinue their representation of Dharamlal, effectively severing their client-lawyer relationship. More in this HGP nightly news item.
What about the victim? Let him go. You got to lose him, Nigel. Let Dharamlal go. Right, find another lawyer. We are mothers. We are asking you, Nigel. Let him go. Stand up for the girls. Stand up for we daughters.
A number of women staged a protest in front of Fields, Hughes and Stobie, the law firm representing Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Dharamlal, who's accused of raping and sodomizing a 16-year-old schoolgirl. The women are calling on attorney-at-law Nigel Hughes, a partner at the law firm, to drop Dharamlal as a client. However, Hughes, in response, noted that the firm has a history of representing everyone, including the Lusignan massacre accused.
The system has to work. I appreciate what you're saying here, but the system can't be affected by whether or not Nigel Hughes defends somebody or whether somebody else defends them. I would urge that what we need here is that we have to make sure, first of all, you protect the person who's made the allegations, the victim. She needs to be protected. We need to make sure that there's a full investigation. So whatever the outcome of the deliberations by the DPP are the charges, that everybody is happy with them.
The Guyana Police Force has completed its investigation into the rape allegations leveled against the minister, and Director of Public Prosecutions, Shalimar Alihak, Senior Counsel, is expected to provide her legal opinion on the matter.
We are out here as women and as mothers, and we are appealing to you. You have your form. Please tell your partners. We just say let Dharamlal go. We don't want you to be in this matter. We just asking. And if we got it right here, because you represent all we. Use all we got as a lawyer. Use we people's lawyer.
In response, the attorney said he would consider the concerns of those who went to the picket line.
I hear what you're saying. This is not a decision that I make alone. So what I will say, we will consider it. But I just want to understand that our emphasis is that whoever comes, whether we like them, don't like them, love them, don't love them, hate them, they're entitled to a fair trial and the fair application of the law and the investigative procedures.
Dharamlal, who is on administrative leave, was arrested and released on $1 million station bail after becoming the center of a rape allegation. This is not the first allegation leveled against the local government and regional development minister. In fact, last year he was accused of harassing a 22-year-old New York-based woman. Notwithstanding, since the allegations, several protests have been held and are continuing as the calls pour in for him to be fired or to step down as minister. Renata Burnett, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.